Okay, so tonight we're going to open up, I think, 5 M2s. I talked to y'all about these in the other videos. It's going to be this guy, this one, this one, this little butte, and then we'll probably save this one for last because I want to talk about it the most. So I'm going to film a little different than what I normally do for this one. Try something out. I got a real custom turntable that I'm going to be using for y'all. Y'all going to like it, but it'll allow you to get some really good footage of the car. So I'll open them flat out in front of me like this real quick. Talk about them a little bit, and then I'll put them on. I'll pause the video and I'll put them on a little stand that I come up with tonight just to kind of get me by, so we can get some really good shots up close to the car. So this is a 74 Torino Cobra. Beautiful car, beautiful casting. I've always liked these things. This was something that was competitive with like the Charger and the Chevelle and Mercury Cyclone, obviously, but that was same division as Ford. But these things just never really got a lot of love from the right people. They're popular, and you saw them, but not like some other cars that were made by them. So 2024 release, release 37, model A46, and it's a Mr. Pibb livery. This car does have a chase. Obviously this is not 9,250 pieces. I'm not certain if that's overall and there's 750 included in the 9,250, or is it 10,000 overall. I should know that. Drop in the comments if you do know, for sure, if you can. But we'll get into this thing, cut it open, and I'll pause the camera here in just a minute, and we'll set it up on the turntable after we check roll quality. I have a couple other M2s in this casting because I like it for a lot of reasons. I like this car long before I started doing diecast. But this is probably, I don't know, the 4th or 5th one. I think this paint on this car is just going to be stellar. So, looks even better, inside the cube. We'll take off the base real quick and check and see how it rolls. I'm real curious. This thing only being a 24, like I said, M2's hit or miss. I actually opened up, this car was already halfway opened, this Daytona that I've had forever, and it actually rolls really well for an M2. So let's see if the Ford Torino is just as good. Oh yeah, not bad. Impressive. I'll take it. Alright, let me get this thing on the stand and get y'all some real good shots of this thing. Stand by. Alright, so you don't want to see this contraption I got this thing on, but it works. I took another base that I had, and I put some painter's tape over it, sharp and markered, because these things don't sit really flat on the base. And I actually cut some of the pegs off. This one was a donor base I had. But here's a look at that 70 Torino. Paint's really brilliant on here. Trying to let it actually get some better focus on the car too than just a turntable. Figured I'd try this. I'm going to end up getting one through Amazon or something, checking it out. But what I liked about this is you can move it in so you can get a real sharp focus. You can push it out, you can turn it. Nice detail on this one. Tailpipes could have been a little bit better. I want to say they should have been chrome, or aluminized maybe. Maybe not black. I don't think this car would have had painted black tailpipes on it. But you got the Cobra on there on the rear trunk lid. See if we can get it to focus. There you go. Nice tail lights. Mr. Pibb striping looks really good. Like I said, this is one that I had in trade. I bought the car because I was trying to get rid of all my regular, Coke livery M2s and just keep the chases. But no one really picked up on this thing, and I just said, you know what, I'll just keep it. I'll put it in a loose collection, and it'll go on display. Let's open up the doors and the hood. It's got tan interior. That's nice. I'm sure that's a big old 428 Cobra Jet in there. Not too bad. I like how they did the headlights correctly. That car would have been that way for forced induction, if you will. For the racetrack. Let's use a little cheater stick here. It's nice and tight on this one. Oh, that's the way some of these go. These doors get like that. But let's check like I said, tan interior. Not too shabby. But where you really see the quality of these models, this one's actually not too bad. That overspray and that jam, or the non-coverage of paint, but this one's actually pretty good. Again, sorry y'all, I'm trying to get some decent focus for everybody. May just be too far away. Let's see if it'll focus over here. Maybe too much flop on the light. Yeah, not bad in the jams, honestly. Like I said, that paint is beautiful. Has nice metallic in it. This is a nice example of an M2. Rolls good. I didn't really see any flaws on here. The color is actually a little bit darker than what it looks like under this light because there's so much light on it. Hood shuts not too bad. Seat's good. Doors seat pretty good. It's really close up, but you can't tell that kind of gap, on here. Unless it's under this zoomed lens. I got it on like 2 power now. But very nice. We'll go to the next one. Alright, so this is that OBS Chevrolet I got from the buddy of mine, Jesse, up the road. I buy from him locally, periodically. 1990, half-ton Silverado. Model's R80. It was a 2023 release, and it looks like it's release 55. 9,600 pieces, no chase. There's the back of the box, nothing too special. A little bit of his garage drywall texture on there. That's all right. I'm going to save the box and the Lexan Cube. So I'll show you how I open up my boxes. On the Matchbox collectors and these M2s, I just take a letter opener in there and just kind of gently pry it open. That way I don't tear the tabs on the box. Works pretty well. You don't need to cut both sides. And I just push it through like that. Obviously you want to keep the background, because it goes with the box itself. So we'll set this to the side for now. Get this thing off the base, and we'll get a better view of it after we roll it. This truck really catches your eye. It's got that real different paint scheme on it, purple and white. It's tastefully done. They got that bow tie intersecting into the two colors there. It's a real nice touch. It's okay, not too bad, but got a little hop and skip in it. We can work on that. So let's get it up on the stand, take a look at it. Alright, so we'll get a couple little shots of this thing. I saw some things on here I already don't like, but again, we'll cover that. It's the M2 quality session, man. We're here to learn and observe and take notes and you know, banter and give feedback and what have you. Not a bad looking truck. I don't like that looks like the bedside paint finish doesn't really match the purple on the cab. It's definitely a lot more metallic and more brilliant, and it's just as obvious off camera as it is on camera. But that is a very accurate bucket for this model of truck. Maybe not this year, but I know in 92, 3, and 4 they had the buckets like that, because my dad had a few of these trucks. It was like pleated, you know, velour center sections. Very comfortable seats in the extended cabs. I don't remember those single cabs coming that way, but obviously this is a custom, so we'll get a little better look inside. But just a basic go around. This truck obviously looks better in the package. It's still a nice looking truck, you know, from a foot or 2 foot away. Again, we're looking at everything under magnified lens. And this is 164 die cast. There's only so much decal you can do. So, like I said, just one thing I noticed right off the bat was this rear tail lamp lens. You know, the glue's not really seated properly. They put a lot of layering of paint on some of these castings, too much, and you can barely tell there's a tailgate handle there. Is it shaved? I don't know. Is there supposed to be a tailgate there handle? I don't know. It's got a smooth roll pan. That's nice. This taillight's the same way. A little bit better, but still kind of out of whack. And this paint finish, this here is, I don't know. Same thing with the door handle. Is it a shaved door handle? Is there supposed to be a door handle there? Is there too much paint over it? You know, what's the deal? And I did not show you all the undercarriage of that Torino, and I apologize. When we get done with this truck, I'll show you all real quick. But let's check under the hood of this thing, if the hood opens. Probably should have done this before I put it on the stand. I don't know if it opens. It should. Let's get the pry bar. It's not really how I'd like to do things, but I'm being super careful. Okay. This would be prior to the Vortec 5.7, but that's a fuel injected, you know, 305, 350. Not bad. It's pretty decently detailed. It's kind of hard to tell where you are looking from, but they got a little color on the valve covers. Obviously the overspray, you know, non-coverage of paint up here. No big deal, whatever. Front of this truck don't look too bad. But overall pretty nice. Let's look at this interior. See what we got. Okay. Oh yeah, period correct console. Got the old square dash. They were like that from 88 to 94. 95 they went to the round. But very nice. Not my favorite, but not too bad. We'll look at the undercarriage real quick. I'll put it up on its side. It's factory exhaust on them trucks. Actually, I believe the 89, 90, 91s, I know on the Suburbans and Blazers, I think they were like this, true dual, and they had a dual outlet, essentially. I don't think it was a Y at the outlet, but it may have been. It's been a while since I've been in one of those. But not bad. Let me show you all the Torino real quick before we get off topic on that. This one's not that great. Really, honestly, kind of disappointing. Sorry, Mama's in the background making 10 loaves of homemade sourdough bread. And it's just got to happen, and I wanted to film, so I do apologize for those of you who are wearing headphones. I probably should have gave you a warning, besides my loud mouth, but let's go to the next one. Alright, so the Mr. Pit Van. This is 6,250 pieces. So like I said, always kind of prefer to buy M2s at the 5,000 to 7,000 piece produced. Just they're a little less common, but 65 Ford Econoline van, 2022 release. This I'm almost positive was a Hobby Lobby find. Model's A25. Nothing crazy on the back. But me and the wife really liked all the anything VW, obviously. So any of the vans, you know, the Ford Econolines, Dodge A100s, Chevy G10s. It don't matter. We like them all. We got a big family, so you know we're like the Brady Bunch, right? There's 5 of us in this house, 6 of us all together. My oldest is grown and she does her own thing, obviously, but we used to be party of 6 when she was younger. Base is kind of loose on this thing. It's interesting. You know, we were at a, we go to the Bedrock Mall at the road every now and again for date night. And it was one of those nights where, you know, we valet every time we go up there just to save on the hassle of parking. And I remember one of these was up there, parked up front. You had to pay extra for that. There's no telling what it costs. And it was a full custom and it had a little V8 in it. And I asked him, I said, what's in there? He said, oh, it's an old, you know, 5-liter Ford from a Fox Body Mustang. And I was like, really? He goes, yeah, man, it's cool, man. It's kind of crammed in there, but it'll run. I was like, really? So we talked about it a little more, and I just happened to catch him as he was parking it. And he said, yeah, man, set the cruise at 80, and it pulls like 2,100. And, man, you just throw the music on, just kick back, and just vibe. I'm like, 80 miles an hour in a V8 Ford Econoline? Okay, I'll take your word for it. But that was just a neat little fact I remember seeing. This was pretty recent. This was probably 6 months or a year ago. So we'll get this one up on the post and take a closer look at it. I did notice, obviously I didn't do a roll test, and I was looking at these tires while I was sitting there yapping. See this one here, it's out of round. Got some flat spots, you know, from sitting in that box. So, and the base is super loose. Why? Why do they do that? So we'll have to definitely do a little surgery on this little guy. I mean, it rolls. It's not bad. Just get those tires out of, you know, not being round. And I can't tell if it looks like it may have been glued on a little crooked. And that tire is just not cooperating. No, there's a big old flat spot in it. So, I'll do this real quick and I'll put it right back on, I promise. Like I said, just knead it around those fingers. Stick it back on. Hope for the best. It's a little bit better. Looks like we got one like that on the rear too. Yeah, see that? See that spot right there? I know that camera's picking it up really good. Let's try doing this. Let's just move it around, Charlie Brown. And again, this may take a little finagling, but it sounds worse, but it actually rolls a bit better. Anyway, let's get this thing posted up. Get y'all a good look at it. Let's look at the bottom before we do all this. Not too bad. Pretty plain. Side exit exhaust. I think it has to be a rough riding jackwagon, man. Leaf springs front and rear. Something this light and small. I've never rode in one. I've rode in a bunch of the VW buses, but never. I don't think I rode in a Dodge A100. Definitely not one of these Ford Econolines. But let me tilt the camera up just a touch. We'll get a little closer zoom. There we go. How's that? Okay. Not too bad. Bumpers are on straight. Mr. Piddler looks really good. Front headlights are nice. It's pretty accurate. Like I said, it's got those little out around unseated spots on the tires, but I will definitely mess with that here in a minute, see if I can straighten it up. Definitely before I put them in bags. No moving parts on this one, which is fine. Bumper's pretty straight on there, on the back. Yeah. It's a nice model. If you're a van guy. Got it kind of sitting on there crooked. Oh yeah, you can definitely tell there's something going on with that driver, passenger rear tire. But not a bad look. This is a good fit with that brown VW one I have. You know, nothing special. It's just no one picked up on trade or whatever. No one was just even asking about it, so I'll just keep it for myself. No problem. I got to put it in storage. All right. Nothing too special here. Let's get on the last two that are a little better. All right. Mustang gasser. I like gassers. I like first-gen Mustangs. It's a 66 Model A50, 2024 release. Release 50. This is 9,250 pieces. It does have a chase. This is not the chase. Let's get this one out real quick. Try to be a little faster in doing this so we can really spend the best time and the most adequate amount of time on the videos for viewing them up close. But again, I want to give y'all the shot of them things rolling, because that's important when you're buying these things. At least to me it is. I'm just flinging parts everywhere tonight to make sure you guys aren't sitting there listening to elevator music or The Price is Right, you know, background song, waiting on them to come down the aisle. This one's got a, oh man, nice riser. Maybe it'll roll good. So they put one of those risers in between the car and the base. Ooh. Not too bad. Something dragging on the bottom. Not real sure what it is. Y'all heard that though, right? I don't know what that is. Oh, it's the tires dragging on the traction bars. It actually rolls pretty good. I'm not going to complain about that. I can work on getting them snipped off and have it roll a little bit better. But let's check it out up close. Isn't that pretty? No opening parts on this one. I love how on this gasser model they did stick to the roots. You know, they got the tinted glass as in the red. This car is actually a pretty nice example. Bumpers on straight, glue in headlights. There's a little bitty, y'all see that? Looks like it got skint in the, you know, before it got packaged. That's very, very tiny. You can barely see that just looking at it with a naked eye. But this is a nice, I love gassers, and the first gen Mustang is just awesome. And when you think gasser of the 60s, you don't think of Mustang, especially a fastback. But the Coke livery on the door is really detailed. It's nice, and it's done the way it should be. Nothing's out of place or mispainted or what have you. I got a little bit of a boo-boo right here on the, I can't remember what you call those things. That was like the window scoop. That's a plus 12-inch tire in the back. Looks good. Look at that, man. Real nice. You start to see how hard it is to detail the back of a model this small. you know, when you see stuff like this. But, you know, from back here, it's still a little noticeable, but, you know, it still looks okay. Coke always had the best sayings, man. I mean, who would think, enjoy that refreshing new feeling? Zing! Like, who would think to do that? You know, just have a marketing slogan like that. But very nice model by him, too. I'm so happy I kept this one. I've got, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 of their, you know, first-gen Mustangs, and this will be a definite nice collection adder. Big old mailbox poking out the hood, ready to terrorize the neighborhood. So, let's see what the underneath looks like. That's what I was telling y'all about. The big old rear tires were rubbing on those traction bars. No big thing. Plastic base. Alright, we got one more to show y'all. It's going to be that Blazer in that cube. And I'm going to see if y'all can see what I'm looking at it as far as the quality bust. I'll point it out right away, but just see if you can see what it is while I'm sitting there talking. Okay, so I'll let y'all get a good look at it. See if there's anything that just looks out of place. It's not an error, not an obvious error at least, right? There's nothing missing, nothing loose, nothing broken. 73 GMC Jimmy Sierra. So obviously their version of the Blazer, right? S106 is the model. This is a 2022 year run, release 12. Back of the box. We'll give it a little snip over here. The old letter opening trick. So I'm not crazy about lower Blazers because, in my opinion, I've only owned one two-wheel drive truck in my life, and it'll probably be the last unless it's something else that's lowered or fast. But, you know, it's occasionally nice to see the K5s and, you know, these Jimmys lowered because they are kind of cool. And they are still a square body, you know, GM truck. But what I noticed about this thing that really set me off, look at that racetrack molding. See how it's all nice and straight, you know, up here on the fender and the door. But then you start heading this way towards the back, and that is no good. No good. It does go above the taillight, but looking at the other Blazers I have, it looks like the taillight's just a little bit too low, and they have the molding a little bit too low. You really can't tell it on the back, but something's going on there. That ain't right, because all the rest of them, I noticed that before I even looked at the rest of them. It's really kind of hard to pick up in this camera, but you can obviously see that it's not on straight. But I wanted to see if this way was just, yeah, it's the same way over here. And you see how low that taillight is on that one. And I think that just may be the problem. So let's get this thing off the base and check the roll quality. And we'll get some close-ups of this thing. And I want to see how the roll bar is installed on it, if it's straight. A couple of the other ones I got recently, they actually have some decent roll bar installs on them. You know, I like cutting these things off because they're just going to be a problem later on. There's nowhere to get under this, so I'm having to cheat a little bit, y'all. All right. Rolls pretty good. I ain't complaining about that. Not one bit. It's got big old tires on the back too, which is surprising because most of these don't really roll that great. But not too bad. That's probably a 7.5, 8 out of 10. I ain't complaining. Get it up on the stand. We'll check it out. Okay, overall, doesn't look too bad. Let me do a little touch up here so we can, there we go. All right, so like I was pointing out, y'all can see that the racetrack molding, you know, it came on these 70, my 78 had it. I know it was obviously standard, I think, on the Cheyennes. I'm not sure about the GMCs, but in the Chevrolets, the Cheyennes had it, and I want to say the Scottsdales, but I don't think the Customs had it. And it may have been an option on Scottsdale. Again, I should know, but don't for certain. But if you look at these taillights, that is definitely where we got something. It looks bad on this magnified close up. Got a little burn spot, you know, back here on the aluminum tailgate molding. Looks like there's some kind of, I don't know what the hell that is. Oh, glue adhesive. But if it wasn't for the racetrack molding, this truck's actually pretty decent overall. The roll bar is actually in there like it's supposed to be. I like the solid chrome wheels, you know, chrome reverse if you will. Paint's not too bad. It's not perfect, but you know, again, we're looking at everything under a microscope with this camera. Front end looks pretty good. Bumpers are on straight. I wonder what engine's in it. Let's see. Oh man, got the OLS in there. Let's take a little. So nice touch. The interior looks really good too. They got the low back buckets, console. They actually put, oh, maybe I get it now. So I was asking y'all, I was letting y'all know that the seat's weird on these things, how it's so narrow and the backrest doesn't match it. You know, in mine, the backrest on the seat and the ass rest on the seat, it was basically all, you know, one big bench, right? Almost like you have in the front. But I guess they made this casting for this truck, the lowered ones, because they take the wide tires, and they must have done the same thing on the four-wheel drives, and they just said, that's good, we'll leave it alone. So technically accurate, but not, I'm not complaining about it. It's whatever. It's a die-cast model. It's not a, you know, it's licensed, if you will, but I mean, who's really picking that apart? But for the aficionados and the weirdos like me, you just got to kind of bring it to everybody's attention. But not bad. Oh, got a little. Red looks good. It's a nice touch. Let's put the top on it and see what it looks like. Shut the hood. Seat's good. That's nice. A lot of them don't. Hard top. A lot of the Blazers that I have, you know, they're kind of mixed. And the four-wheel drives are soft top and hard top. I like them both. Not too bad. I just am really bummed about that molding. That's just going to get my goat, you know. But that's it for tonight. I tried to make them a little shorter. I'm working on it, but at least we're getting some better up close of these things, and you don't get so much face-to-face contact with me, which I like. I feel like I'm talking to the walls in this room versus an audience. But just something to do a little different, a little bit different view for y'all. So, everybody have a good night. We're going to knock out another one. We're going to save the green lights for Friday night green light. But I think I'm going to open up the Matchbox cars that we got in the mystery box yesterday. So, stay tuned.